G'day everybody, my name is Elliot Waters and you're listening to the Dysregulated podcast. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you're enjoying the show, you can follow me on Instagram at elliot.t.waters. You can follow the show at thedysregulated.podcast, and you can also sign up to the Patreon and help keep this podcast ad-free and still going. So the Patreon is at patreon.com/Elliot Waters. I've got all the links in the description bios for this episode. So I was just out then being a very, very good adult. I was going shopping for groceries. You know, I'm not having as much fast food anymore, where I wouldn't say we're preparing meals, but at the very least there's less Maccas, less KFC and more stuff from Coles and Woolworths. And that is a good thing, not only for my wallet, but also my waistline, because I'm starting to get a bit pudgy. But anyway, so as I was shopping at Coles, I got this brainwave. I was like, yes, that is what I want to talk about on the podcast. And when I get home, I'm going to do it. And the great news is here I am talking to you about it right now. So what is it exactly that I'm going to talk about? Well, it's all about getting early wins, early victories in the day to set yourself up for the greatest day that you can have as far as what you can control is concerned. So in a lot of ways, this is a cautionary tale because I do not do this stuff very good. But I think what I'm about to say is so key to people getting on the front foot early and really making the most of their days. And especially if you're someone that suffers from mental illness, I'm thinking depression in particular is right at the top of this list. Getting these early wins really can shield against some of the most negative of cognitions. And because you know what it's like, you know, you get off on the bad foot and you start spiraling down. What I'm about to suggest, which is not anything unbelievably crazy, but what I'm about to suggest is a way to stop the spiral. Cut it off right at its core so there is no spiraling that occurs at all, because we begin the day on the front foot with an early win. So what am I talking about with early wins? I'm talking making your bed. I'm talking getting outside and getting sun nice and early to kickstart those circadian rhythms. I'm talking about a nice, nutritious meal. I'm also talking about maybe going for an early drive and listening to some music or going for a run or something like that. These are the little wins. And okay, I'll be completely honest with you, today has not been a great day for me. You know, if plus 10 is completely manic, minus 10 is, you know, suicidal, I was sitting today between probably -5 and -7. Not been a good day. Now, there's a few reasons for that, but one of the main reasons I think is that I got up late, I didn't make the bed, I didn't have a very good breakfast, and I just kept getting these losses on the board instead of these little wins. I know it's not rocket science. This stuff is not rocket science, but I think it's backed up by the neurochemistry as well. So, you know, I did an episode not that long ago on ADHD, groundbreaking. I highly suggest that you listen to it. But a real key feature of that episode and that particular disorder, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, is problems with the dopaminergic reward system. So dopamine, it's my favorite neurotransmitter because it is all about that anticipation of reward. And how do you get that? By doing things to get the wins on the board. And then you get that momentum behind you, that dopamine's hitting going, yes, we're doing the right things here. Keep going. And that is so key. Just try and start off each day like that, especially if you've got, say, depression, or especially if you've got ADHD, because these are disorders. BPD I've actually discovered more recently as well. I want to talk about that at some point. Dopamine is so important for just about all of these mental illnesses, but especially I reckon ADHD and depression, those two in particular, you got to start the day on the right foot, because if you don't, the negativity will compound. Then all of a sudden you're having a day like I am today where you're sitting at -7. And really, when we look over the day at what's happened, not much has really happened except we didn't do the right things and we didn't do them early. And that's the other thing, which I guess I've sort of highlighted, but which is key. It's not just getting the wins. I'm talking like, you know, we need to be getting wins early. First hour of the day, boom, get 2 or 3 wins on the board, and then we springboard from there. So, you know, like exercising, for example, we know is so good for your physical and mental health. I know that, you know, when I'm running well, I'm also mentally feeling well too. There's more than just a correlation there. But what I'm sort of postulating at the moment is that, you know, yeah, running's good, that's great, but if you can do it early and get it on the board, even before you start work or start your day proper, get out there and then you get the sunlight too. This is dopamine. Or if you're one of those people that like driving around, like me as well, Get out in the car early, windows down, and blast some tunes. Get that dopamine started. I'll say it again. This isn't rocket science. Probably every mental health podcast has probably put forward a point very similar to what I'm doing right now. But I just thought it was so fitting because I was at Coles thinking about my day, when I was grocery shopping and how we were sitting between a -5 and a -7 because that's how I think about my days, in that sort of numerical way. I don't know, might be the autism, I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking -7, but why? Why have we hit, because sometimes it's very obvious. It's like, right, boom, that thing happened. That's a terrible thing, and I feel terrible because of it. That makes sense. But then there's other days, and I think today's a great example, where there is no obvious trigger. And then when there's no obvious trigger, but we still are having a bad day, that's when I think to myself, right, we aren't following the processes here. We're not doing the healthy habits where, this is on us. This isn't on the world, giving us some negative catalyst, some negative trigger. This is coming from within because we are not doing the basics properly. And unfortunately, I am, again, ADHD and habit building is just the worst thing in the world. And it's been so difficult for me the last couple of weeks. But when I was really, analysing today and what sort of went wrong, it's because we didn't get up on the right foot. And then because we're on the wrong foot, we're on the back foot, we're on every foot. The back foot, let's go with that one. We're on the back foot, and then these little things, just these little negatives, but, ordinarily would just be lost in the wash. But these little things clung on because I allowed the opportunity for these little negatives to just latch on and grow and fester because the basics aren't down pat. And that is the story of today. And I think today could have gone the complete opposite direction if we just got those little wins on the board. If only I made my bed and then I had a good breakfast, went for a cruise and put some tunes on with the windows down, got out of the car after going for a bit of a drive, walked around the beach for a bit, get the sunlight, boom. What a start to the day. Seriously, what a start. We're achieving things, we're away. But I didn't do any of that, and as a result, I'm putting this one on me. I think this loss today is on me because I haven't followed the processes exactly like I would like to. So, we didn't do the habits. We didn't get the early wins. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. That's just a bit amusing that I was thinking about when I was at grocery shopping before. And I was like, I've got to talk to the Dysregulated podcast listeners. They're going to love this. So anyway, hopefully you did. If you did, feel free again to join the Patreon to keep the show ad-free. It's just $10 a month and you would be doing that. Now that would be some early wins right there. Bang. But yes, the Patreon at patreon.com/Elliot Waters. As always, thank you for listening. I do appreciate it. And I will see you next time here on the Dysregulated podcast.